The ship drifted through empty space like a small metal fish swimming in a dark ocean. Commander Jake Morrison sat in his captain's chair, watching the stars through the main window. The year was 2387, and he had been exploring unknown parts of the galaxy for 3 years now. His ship, the U.S. Horizon, was not very big compared to the warships back home, but it was perfect for long trips into places where no human had ever been. "Commander, we are getting close to the old star system," said Lisa Carter from the pilot's seat. She was good at her job and had been flying ships for 15 years. Her hands moved over the controls like she was playing music. Jake nodded and looked at his crew. Dr. Ben Parker sat at the science station, studying data on his screen. Ben was the smartest person Jake had ever met when it came to old alien things. Next to him, Amanda Wells worked at the communications desk, listening for any signals from space. She had short red hair and always wore a small smile, even when things got dangerous. Ryan Davis stood near the back of the room, checking his weapons. As security chief, Ryan made sure everyone stayed safe. "What do we know about this place?" Jake asked Ben. Ben looked up from his screen. "Not much, sir. The system has 5 dead planets around an old red star. Our long-range scans show something strange floating between the second and third planets. It looks like big rocks, but they are arranged in patterns that nature does not make." "Aliens?" Ryan asked, his hand moving to his gun. "Maybe, or what is left of them," Ben said. "The energy reading suggests these things have been here for millions of years, much older than any known civilization in the galaxy." Jake felt excited. Finding really old alien stuff was the reason he became an explorer. "Take us closer, Lisa, but keep us ready to run if we need to." The ship moved forward, and soon they could see the strange objects on their main screen. Jake's mouth fell open. Floating in the black space were huge stone blocks, each one as big as a building. There were dozens of them, arranged in perfect circles and lines. The stones were dark gray and covered with strange markings that looked like writing. "Those are not natural," Amanda said, her voice full of wonder. "No kidding," Ryan muttered. "Who builds things in the middle of empty space?" Ben was already scanning the objects with every sensor on the ship. "Commander, these readings are incredible. The stone is made of elements that should not exist together. And the age. I am getting readings that suggest these things are at least 4 million years old." 4 million? Jake repeated. "That is older than any known alien race. Much older." Ben agreed. "And look at this." He put an image on the main screen. The stone blocks were covered with carved symbols that seemed to glow with a faint light. The symbols were complex, with curved lines and geometric shapes that hurt to look at for too long. "Can you read any of it?" Jake asked. Ben shook his head. "Not with our normal translation computers. This writing is unlike anything in our databases, but Amanda might have an idea." Everyone looked at Amanda. She was studying the symbols with a strange expression on her face. "I have been listening to the radio signals from these stones," she said slowly. "They are not just quiet rocks. They are sending out very weak signals in quantum frequencies." "What kind of signals?" Jake asked. "Patterns." "The same patterns that are carved on the stones. It is like the writing is also a kind of radio broadcast that has been going on for millions of years." Ben's eyes got wide. "Amanda, you might be onto something. If the symbols match quantum frequencies, maybe we can use our experimental translation system. The one that converts frequency patterns into meaning." "Do it," Jake ordered. For the next 2 hours, Amanda and Ben worked together, feeding the quantum signals into their most advanced computer systems. Jake watched the stars and tried to be patient. Finding old alien ruins was exciting, but it could also be dangerous. Many exploration crews had found things they wished they had left alone. "Got something," Amanda called out. "The computer is starting to translate parts of the text." What does it say? Jake asked. Then read from his screen, his voice getting quieter as he went on. It talks about ... species, different alien races that rose and fell over millions of years, 7 great ages of the galaxy, each one ending when a new dominant species emerged. And, Ryan prompted, it mentions a 7th age, the final age, when a species called the burning species will rise, a race that will either unite the galaxy in peace or destroy everything. Jake felt a chill run down his back. Does it say which species? Amanda had gone very pale. She pointed at her screen. Commander, look at this symbol. It appears at the end of every major section of text. On the screen was a simple drawing. It showed a figure standing upright on 2 legs, with 2 arms ending in hands that had thumbs. It was clearly meant to represent a human being. That is us, Ryan said quietly. They are talking about humans. But how is that possible? Lisa asked. These stones are millions of years old. Humans have only been in space for a few hundred years. Ben was reading more of the translation. His face had gone white. There is more. Much more, the text calls. The burning species, the ones who consume the dark between stars, and the bringers of the final silence. It says they will have a choice to make when they gain power over all other life. What choice? Jake asked, though he was not sure he wanted to know. Whether to save the galaxy or end it. Suddenly, alarms started ringing throughout the ship. Ryan ran to his station. Commander, we have multiple contacts approaching fast. Very big contacts. From where? Jake demanded. From the stones themselves. Something is waking up. On the main screen, Jake could see light starting to glow from inside the ancient monuments. The stones that had been silent for millions of years were coming to life. Lisa, get us out of here. Now. Working on it, sir. The ship turned and started to move away from the stones, but it was too late. Beams of bright energy shot out from the monuments, not trying to destroy the ship but scanning it with invisible light. Jake could feel the energy washing over them, studying them, learning about them. They know we are human, Ben said with certainty. Whatever built these things, they left guardians. And the guardians have been waiting for us. More beams of light appeared, but these were different. They were trying to stop the ship from leaving. Lisa pushed the engines to full power, and the U's horizon shot away from the ancient stones like a bullet dot as they escaped. Amanda managed to download the complete text from the monuments. Jake watched the mysterious stones disappear behind them, and knew that everything had changed. Humanity had found proof that their destiny had been written in stone, millions of years before they had even learned to make fire. The question now was whether that destiny meant salvation or doom for everyone. In the galaxy, the U.S. Horizon arrived at Luna Station 3 days later. Luna Station was the biggest research center humanity had ever built, floating in space near Earth's moon. It looked like a giant metal city with towers and rings spinning slowly in the darkness. This was where the smartest people in human space worked on the hardest problems. Commander Jake Morrison and his crew brought their discovery to the station's most secure lab. The data from the ancient stones was too important and too dangerous to trust to just anyone. Dr. Helen Rodriguez met them at the docking bay. She was the head of the Alien Studies Department and had been studying unknown civilizations for 20 years. Commander Morrison, she said, shaking his hand, I read your report. If what you found is real, this could change everything we know. About the galaxy. It's real, Doctor, Jake replied. And it's scary. Dr. Rodriguez led them through the station's white hallways to a special room deep inside the research section. The room was filled with the most advanced computers and translation equipment humanity had ever built. 3 other people waited for them inside. This is Professor Carl Johnson, Dr. Rodriguez said, pointing to a tall man with gray hair. He knows more about alien languages than anyone alive. This is Dr. Nina Foster, our expert on very old civilizations. And this is Marcus Wright, who designs our smartest computer programs. Jake's crew handed over all the data they had collected from the stone monuments. Amanda Wells showed them the quantum frequency patterns she had recorded. Ben Parker explained what they had already translated. Everyone in the room grew quiet as they realized what they were dealing with. "Let me get this straight," Professor Johnson said slowly. "You found monuments that are millions of years old, and they contain a prophecy about humans specifically?" "That's right," Jake confirmed. "And the prophecy says we will either save the galaxy or destroy it." Dr. Rodriguez started the computers. "Let's see what else these stones have to tell us." For the next week, the team worked day and night. The quantum translation system was very complex and could only handle small pieces of text at a time. But slowly, more and more of the ancient message became clear. Marcus Wright was the first to notice something strange. "Dr. Rodriguez, look. At this, the computer is finding similar text patterns in our historical databases." "What do you mean?" she asked. "Parts of this prophecy have appeared before. In fragments, scattered across the galaxy over thousands of years." Dr. Nina Foster pulled up her research files. "Marcus is right. Look at this." She showed them pictures of old alien ruins from different worlds. The Zelkari Empire collapsed 2,000 years ago. Before they fell, their priests found stone tablets with writing that mentioned soft-skin burners who would come from the outer rim. "Soft-skin burners?" Jake asked. "That's what they called humans," Nina explained. "The Zelkari had thick, scaly skin. To them, we would look like our skin was soft and easy to burn." Professor Johnson found more examples. The Vorthok Confederacy fell into civil war 800 years ago. Their war priests found similar writings that spoke of two-armed deathbringers rising in the final days. "2 arms, 2 legs, hands with thumbs," Amanda said. "They were describing humans too. But how could they know about us millions of years before we left Earth?" Jake wondered. Dr. Rodriguez had an answer. Whoever built those monuments, they could see the future. Or at least, they could predict which species would eventually become dominant. They left warnings scattered across the galaxy. The team kept working, and the full prophecy slowly became clear. It told the story of 7 great ages of galactic civilization. Each age was dominated by a different species. The first age belonged to the builders who created the monuments. The second age was ruled by the shapers, who could change the form of matter with their minds. The third age was the time of the singers, who controlled reality through sound. Each age ended the same way. The dominant species either learned to share power with others, or they tried to keep all power for themselves. Those who shared power helped the next age begin peacefully. Those who kept power for themselves were destroyed by the species that came after them. "And now we are in the 7th age," Dr. Rodriguez said. "The final age, the age of humans." "What happens after the 7th age?" Jake asked. "According to this, there is no 8th age," Professor Johnson said grimly. "Either the 7th age species creates lasting peace for everyone, or they destroy the galaxy completely." Marcus Wright had been running probability calculations on his computers. "Based on the patterns described in the prophecy, I can tell you when the time of choosing will come." "When?" Dr. Rodriguez asked. "Soon, within the next few years. Maybe months." As the team worked to finish translating the prophecy, news of their discovery began to leak out. Someone in the research station had talked to friends. Those friends had told others. Within days, reports were spreading across human space and beyond. The reaction was immediate and terrifying. On the alien world of Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss what they called the human problem. Ambassador Daniel Chun was called from Earth to represent humanity, back on Luna Station. Jake Morrison watched the news reports with growing alarm. Alien fleets were moving throughout the galaxy. Species that had been peaceful for centuries were suddenly building warships. The Threx hive mind had declared that humans were a galactic cancer that must be removed. The Deephold Coalition was demanding that all humans be forced to live on prison worlds. "They're scared," Dr. Rodriguez said as they watched another news report. "The prophecy has been fragments and legends for thousands of years. Now they know it's real, and they know we're the species it was warning about. Can you blame them?" Jake asked. "If I heard that another species was destined to either rule the galaxy or destroy it, I'd be worried too." Amanda Wells had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy. "Commander, it's getting worse. I'm picking up military chatter from at least 12 different species. They're talking about coordinated strikes against human colonies. They're going to attack us first," Jake realized. "They think if they destroy humanity before we get too powerful, they can prevent the prophecy from coming true." Dr. Rodriguez pulled up a map of the galaxy on the main screen. Red dots showed the locations of alien military forces. There were hundreds of them, all moving toward human space. "The irony is terrible," she said. "The prophecy says humans will have to choose between saving the galaxy or destroying it. But the other species are forcing our hand. If they attack us, we'll have to fight back." Professor Johnson looked at the ancient text one more time. "There's something else here. Something we missed before." He pointed to a section of symbols near the end of the prophecy. "This part talks about the test of fire that the burning species must pass. It says they will face destruction from all sides, and their response will determine their true nature." "You mean the war that's coming isn't just something that might happen?" Jake said slowly. "It's part of the prophecy. It's supposed to happen." "Yes," Johnson confirmed. "And how humanity responds to that war will decide the fate of the galaxy." On Earth, President Catherine Lewis was meeting with the military commanders. Admiral Patricia Hayes, the head of the Terran Defense Fleet, brought disturbing news. "Madam President, our intelligence shows that over 50 alien species are mobilizing for war. They're calling it the Galactic Enforcement Coalition. Their goal is simple: eliminate humanity before we can fulfill the prophecy." "How long do we have?" the president asked. "Weeks, maybe days before the first attacks begin." President Lewis looked out the window at the blue sky of Earth. Somewhere out there, in the dark between the stars, the greatest war in galactic history was about to begin. And at the center of it all was a prophecy written by beings who had died millions of years before the first human learned to make fire. The ancient warning was about to be tested. Soon, everyone in the galaxy would learn whether humanity would save the universe or destroy it. But first, they would have to survive what was coming. The council chamber on Kepler Prime was the largest meeting room in the galaxy. It was built like a giant bowl with seats rising up in circles around a central stage. Today, that stage would decide the fate of humanity and perhaps the entire galaxy. Ambassador Daniel Chun walked into the chamber with his team. Grace Thompson, who understood alien cultures, stayed close to his left side. Colonel Steve Martinez, his military advisor, scanned the room for threats. Dr. Lavra Kim, the economist, carried data files that showed how much trade humanity did with other species. The chamber was packed with beings from across the galaxy. Daniel had seen many alien species before, but never this many together in one place. The insect-like Threx buzzed angrily in their section. The fish-like Deephold Coalition representatives floated in tanks of water. The tall, elegant Alvari sat perfectly still, their silver skin shining under the lights. Energy beings called the Luminar flickered like flames in special containers. At the center of it all sat the council speaker, an ancient being called Morthic, who had been running galactic meetings for 300 years. His voice boomed through the chamber when he spoke. "We are here to discuss the human question," Morthic announced. "Recent discoveries have confirmed that an ancient prophecy speaks of humanity as the final dominant species in galactic history. The prophecy states that humans will either bring eternal peace or eternal destruction to all life." A Threx representative shot up from his seat. His name was Ziktar, and his voice sounded like breaking glass. "The choice is simple. We must act before they grow too powerful. Remove the humans now, save the galaxy later." Angry buzzing came from the Threx section. Other species began shouting their agreement. Daniel felt his heart pounding, but he kept his face calm. "That is not how justice works," said a voice from the Althery section. The speaker was Lysandra, one of the most respected leaders in the galaxy. Her voice was like music, even when she was angry. "We cannot destroy an entire species because of what they might do." "But the prophecy is clear," argued a representative from the Crystalline Resonance Collective. When they spoke, their voice made harmonic sounds that were beautiful and terrifying. "We have run the calculations. The probability of human aggression leading to galactic destruction is 73%. Daniel stood up. "May I speak?" Morthic nodded. "The human representative will address the council." Daniel walked to the center stage. Thousands of alien eyes watched him. He could feel their fear, their anger, their desperation. These beings were terrified of what humans might become. "Fellow beings of the galaxy," Daniel began, "I understand your fear. If I heard that another species was destined to rule or destroy everything I cared about, I would be afraid too. But prophecies are not orders. They are warnings. They tell us what could happen, not what must happen." "Words," shouted a Vorthic war commander. The Vorthic looked like giant lizards with too many teeth. "Humans always use clever words to hide their true intentions. We know what you are. We have seen your wars, your weapons, your hunger for more worlds." "Yes," Daniel admitted, "humans fight. We have wars. We make mistakes, but we also learn. We also choose to be better than we were before." Grace Thompson whispered something in his ear. Daniel nodded and continued. "Every species in this chamber has a history of violence. The Threx once ate entire planets clean of life. The Vorthic enslaved 17 species before they learned to work with others instead of ruling them. The Althery used to kill anyone who came too close to their worlds. Uncomfortable silence filled the chamber. Daniel was right, and everyone knew it. "The difference is," Daniel continued, "we are all here talking instead of fighting. We all chose to be part of this council instead of conquering each other. That is proof that any species can change, can choose peace over war." A new voice spoke from the Energy Being section. The Luminar representative was called Bright Flame, and when he spoke, his light pulsed with his words. "But humans are different. The prophecy says you will consume the dark between stars. That means you will spread everywhere, take everything, leave nothing for others." Colonel Martinez stepped forward. "Sir, may I share some information with the council?" Daniel nodded. Martinez activated a holographic display that showed the galaxy with all human colonies marked in blue. "This is human space today," Martinez said. "We control less than 2% of the galaxy. We have colonies on 87 worlds. In the past 50 years, we have only settled uninhabited planets. We have never taken a world that belonged to another species." "Yet," muttered the Vorthic representative. "We could have," Martinez continued. "Human military technology is more advanced than most species realize. We could have taken worlds by force. But we chose not to. We chose to ask permission, to trade, to share." Dr. Lovrakim stepped forward with her economic data. "Human trade has increased prosperity for every species we work with. Our technology has helped solve food shortages on 12 worlds. Our medical knowledge has saved billions of alien lives." But the council was not convinced. Fear was stronger than facts. A representative from the Depot Coalition spoke next. His name was Current Rider, and his voice bubbled through the water. In his tank, all of this may be true, but the prophecy remains. When humans gain the power to choose the galaxy's fate, what guarantee do we have that they will choose wisely? The same guarantee any of us have, Daniel replied. None. Life requires trust. Democracy requires faith that others will make good choices. Peace requires believing that former enemies can become friends. Morthic raised his hand for silence. The council will now hear the military report. A holographic display showed the galaxy with red dots marking alien military forces. There were thousands of them, all moving toward human space. 12 major species have mobilized their fleets, Morthic announced. The Galactic Enforcement Coalition has formed with one purpose: to prevent the prophecy by removing humanity before they gain enough power to fulfill it. Daniel felt sick. You're planning to attack us. It is not an attack, Ziktar insisted. It is prevention. It is survival. It is murder, Grace Thompson said angrily. You're talking about genocide. We are talking about necessity, Current Rider replied. Better that one species dies than all species die. The chamber erupted in arguments. Some species supported the coalition, others opposed it. The Ulvari called for more discussion. The Resonance Collective wanted to negotiate terms for human containment. The energy being suggested modifying human genetics to make them less aggressive. Through it all, Daniel stood at the center, watching the galaxy tear itself apart over fear of what his species might do. Finally, Morthic called for order. The council will vote. All in favor of military action against humanity? Hands, claws, tentacles, and energy fields rose throughout the chamber. Daniel counted them with growing horror. More than half the council supported the coalition. All opposed? Fewer beings voted against the measure. The measure passes, Morthic announced. The Galactic Enforcement Coalition is authorized to take necessary action to prevent fulfillment of the prophecy. Daniel stood up. Then you have made the prophecy come true. You have given humanity no choice but to fight for survival. And when we fight to win. He turned and walked out of the chamber with his team. Behind them, the aliens continued arguing about how best to destroy the human species. In space above Kepler Prime, Colonel Martinez activated his communicator. Luna Command, this is Diplomatic Mission Alpha. Code Red. Say again, Code Red. The shooting starts now. The message traveled faster than light to Earth, where President Catherine Lewis was waiting for word from the council. When she heard the news, she looked out at the stars and made the hardest decision of her life. General Wilson, she said to her military commander, activate the Defiance Protocol. All human fleets are now at war status. We're about to find out what we're really made of. Across human space, hidden shipyards came online. Weapons that had been built in secret were loaded onto ships. Soldiers who had trained for this day, their entire lives prepared for battle. The galaxy's greatest war was about to begin. Started by the very fear of what that war might lead to. In deep space, Captain Todd Walker was flying his merchant ship, the Free Trader, toward a colony world that needed medical supplies. He had no idea that everything had changed, that humanity was now at war with most of the galaxy. He was about to find out. Captain Todd Walker was humming an old Earth song when the Vorthet patrol ships appeared on his scanner. The Free Trader was a small merchant vessel carrying medicine to sick colonists on Haven Prime. Todd had made this run dozens of times before. He expected the aliens to scan his ship, check his cargo manifest, and wave him through like they always did. He was wrong. The first energy blast hit his ship without any warning. Todd was thrown from his pilot's seat as explosions rocked the cargo bay. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. His communications officer, Sally Grant, was bleeding from a cut on her forehead. They're firing on us. She shouted over the alarms. Todd climbed back into his seat and grabbed the radio. Vorthok Patrol, this is Free Trader requesting immediate ceasefire. We are carrying medical supplies to Haven Prime. We are not armed. The response came in the harsh, growling language of the Vorthok. When the computer translated it, the words made Todd's blood go cold. Human vessel, you have been marked for termination under Galactic Enforcement Coalition. Resolution 847. Surrender and prepare to be boarded. Termination? Sally asked. What are they talking about? Todd tried to turn the ship around, but more Vorthok vessels appeared, surrounding him. These were not patrol ships. These were war cruisers with enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Free Trader, you have 30 seconds to surrender. The lead Vorthok ship broadcast. Todd looked at Sally and his engineer, Mike Chun. They were good people who had signed up to deliver supplies to colonies, not to die in space. But Todd also knew what happened to humans who surrendered to the Vorthok. Their prisoners rarely lived long. Hold on, Todd said, pushing his engines to maximum power. The Free Trader shot forward, trying to escape between two of the warships. For a moment, it looked like they might make it. Then the sky filled with energy beams. Todd's final transmission was heard across human space. This is Free Trader. The aliens are shooting without asking questions. They are not taking prisoners. Tell Earth. Tell everyone. They mean to kill us all. The ship exploded in a ball of fire. There were no survivors. News of Todd's death reached Admiral Victor Kane within hours. Kane commanded the human defense fleet from his flagship, the U.S. Defiant. He was a big man with gray hair and scars from old battles. He had fought pirates and hostile aliens before, but never anything like this. How many ships do we face? He asked Captain Diane Foster, his second in command. Latest count shows over 3,000 alien vessels moving toward our space, she replied. That's more firepower than we've ever seen in one place. Colonel Eddie Barnes, the tactical officer, brought worse news. Sir, they're not just attacking our military targets. Long-range sensors show alien fleets moving toward our colony worlds. They're planning to hit everything at once. Admiral Kane looked at the galaxy map on his main screen. Red dots showed enemy forces closing in from all directions. Blue dots showed human ships rushing to defend their homes. The numbers were not good. For every human ship, there were 10 alien vessels. They want to end this war before it really starts, Kane realized. Hit us so hard and so fast that we can't fight back. Will it work? Captain Foster asked. Kane thought about the human colonies scattered across dozens of worlds. Families, children, farmers, teachers, artists. All of them were about to face an enemy that had already decided they should not exist. Maybe, he admitted, if we fight like everyone else fights. But we're not everyone else. The first major battle happened at Meridian Crossing, a star system with 3 human colonies. Captain Rick Turner commanded the U.S. Relentless, a heavy cruiser with a crew of 800. His ship was damaged from an earlier fight, but it was still the most powerful human vessel in the system. Turner watched his sensors as a massive Threx Hive fleet dropped out of hyperspace. There were 50 alien ships, each one bigger than his cruiser. The Threx flew in perfect formation, like a swarm of metal insects. Captain, we should retreat, said his weapons officer Jenny Park. We can't fight 50 ships. We can't run either. Turner replied, behind us are 3 million colonists. If we leave, they all die. Turner opened a channel to all ships in the system, both human and alien. His voice was calm and steady as he spoke. This is Captain Rick Turner of the U.S. Relentless. I want everyone to hear this, especially our alien friends out there. You think humans are dangerous because an old prophecy says we might destroy the galaxy. You're right. We are dangerous. But not for the reasons you think. The alien fleet had stopped moving, listening to his words. You want to know what makes humans dangerous? We've spent our entire history preparing for this moment. Every war we've fought, every monster we've defeated, every impossible situation we've overcome has led to this. Every time someone told US we couldn't do something, we proved them wrong. Turner's tactical officer, Lieutenant Bob Hayes, was getting weapons ready. The ship's engineer, Chief Nancy Reed, was rerouting power to the shields. Everyone on the bridge worked with deadly efficiency. You're not fighting us at our worst, Turner continued. You're not fighting us when we're cruel or greedy or stupid. You're fighting us at our best. You're fighting us when we're protecting our families. And that makes us the most dangerous thing in the universe. The Threx fleet commander, High Voice Zactor, responded with angry buzzing that the computer translated. Human words cannot save you. Numbers do not lie. You are one ship against 50. Numbers don't win wars, Turner said. Will does, courage does. The absolute refusal to give up does. And humans never give up. The battle began with a storm of energy fire. The Relentless moved like a dancer, spinning and diving between the larger alien ships. Turner used every trick he had learned in 20 years of space combat. He flew his ship into asteroid fields where the bigger alien vessels couldn't follow. He used the gravity of planets to slingshot around enemy formations, but the real difference was his crew. When the main guns were damaged, engineers fixed them while under fire. When the shields failed, technicians rerouted power from life support. When the ship's computer was hit, the navigation officer plotted courses by hand. One by one, alien ships began to explode. The humans fought with a desperation and creativity that the Threx had never seen before. When conventional weapons failed, the humans improvised. They turned cargo containers into missiles. They used mining equipment as weapons. They even rammed damaged alien ships when nothing else worked. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Threx Hive fleet was destroyed. The UES Relentless was barely flying, held together by emergency repairs and the will of its crew. But it was still there, still protecting the colonies. Word of the victory at Meridian Crossing spread throughout human space. More importantly, it spread to the alien fleets. Suddenly, commanders who had expected an easy victory began to worry. If one damaged human ship could destroy 50 Threx vessels, what could a full human fleet do? But the victory came at a terrible cost. Across human space, colonies burned under alien attack. Billions of people died in the first week of fighting. Entire worlds were glassed from orbit by alien bombardment. On Earth, President Catherine Lewis watched the casualty reports with growing horror. The military leaders wanted to use the most powerful weapons humanity had ever built. Weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Weapons that could turn planets into burning rocks. We could end this war in days, General Anthony Wilson argued. Our Nova bombs could sterilize every alien homeworld simultaneously. And prove the prophecy right, Dr. Helen Rodriguez countered. She had been brought to Earth to advise the government. The moment we start destroying planets, we become exactly what they feared we would become. President Lewis looked at the reports one more time. Human fleets were fighting desperately across dozens of star systems. Young men and women were dying. To protect colonies full of families who had done nothing wrong except be born human, what choice do we have? She asked quietly. They started this war. They want to exterminate us. Don't we have the right to defend ourselves? Of course we do, Dr. Rodriguez replied. But there's a difference between defending ourselves and becoming monsters. The prophecy says we will face a test. This is that test. How we respond will determine what kind of species we really are. The president looked out at the stars, where the greatest war in galactic history was tearing the universe apart. Somewhere out there, human ships were fighting impossible odds to protect innocent people. Somewhere out there, alien families were also afraid, also dying, also wondering if the war would ever end. "Get me Admiral Kane," she said finally, "and prepare a message for the galaxy. It's time everyone learned exactly what humans are capable of when we're pushed too far." The test was about to reach its climax. Soon, everyone would know whether humanity would save the galaxy or destroy it. The ancient prophecy was waiting to be fulfilled. 6 months after the war began, Fleet Admiral Janet Stevens stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus Rising, looking at the biggest human fleet ever assembled. Behind her ship floated 300 warships, each one loaded with weapons that could destroy entire cities. They had just won another impossible battle, and the path to the alien homeworlds lay wide open. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender offers from 12 different species," reported Strategic Commander Peter Young. "The Threx are offering to evacuate 3 star systems for us. The Deephold Coalition wants to negotiate. Even some Vorthak commanders are asking for terms." Admiral Stevens had short gray hair and tired eyes. She had been fighting this war since the first day, watching thousands of good people die to protect humanity's right to exist. Now, after months of brutal combat, the aliens were finally afraid. "What's our casualty report?" she asked Intelligence. Director Lisa Martinez checked her datapad. "We've lost 40% of our fleet. Nearly 50 billion civilians are dead or missing. Earth itself was attacked twice. But we're winning, Admiral. The alien coalition is falling apart." Stevens nodded slowly. The humans had fought better than anyone expected, including themselves. When the aliens attacked with overwhelming numbers, humans responded with tactics no one had ever seen before. When alien weapons destroyed human ships, human engineers built new ones twice as fast. When entire colonies were burned from space, the survivors rebuilt them stronger than before. The key had been what Captain Rick Turner said at Meridian Crossing. Humans didn't just fight to win. They fought like the universe depended on it. And slowly, impossibly, they had turned the tide of the war. But Stevens knew the real test was still coming. "Admiral," Diplomatic Corps Representative Kevin Davis called from his station. "We're getting a priority message from Earth. President Lewis wants to speak with you directly." The main screen flickered, and President Lewis appeared. She looked older than she had 6 months ago, with new lines around her eyes and gray streaks in her hair. Behind her, Stevens could see the lights of the rebuilt capital city. "Admiral Stevens," the president said, "I'm sure you've seen the reports. Our forces have pushed deep into alien space. We have the firepower to end this war permanently." "Yes, Madam President." "What are your orders?" President Lewis was quiet for a moment. "The Joint Chiefs are recommending Operation Final Dawn, a coordinated strike to cripple every major alien civilization simultaneously. General Anthony Wilson believes it's the only way to ensure this never happens again." Stevens understood what that meant. Final Dawn would involve attacking alien homeworlds, destroying their shipyards, eliminating their ability to wage war. It would save human lives and guarantee humanity's safety for generations. It would also prove the prophecy right. "What do you think, Admiral?" the president asked. Stevens looked around her bridge. Her crew had fought bravely for months, losing friends and family to an enemy that had tried to exterminate their entire species. They deserved safety. They deserved victory. They deserved revenge. "Madam President," Stevens said carefully, "we have another option." Before the president could respond, alarms started ringing throughout the ship. "Admiral," Peter Young called out. "Multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace. It's a massive alien fleet." Stevens turned to the main display and felt her heart sink. Hundreds of alien ships were appearing in space around them. This was the largest enemy force she had ever seen, led by ships she recognized as belonging to the legendary Althari war singer, Lyasandra. "How did they get so close without us detecting them?" Stevens demanded. They're using some kind of new stealth technology, Lisa Martinez reported. And Admiral, they're not just here to fight. Our long-range sensors are detecting planet-killer weapons. Stevens felt cold fear run through her. Planet killers were weapons that could destroy entire worlds. If the aliens were bringing them here, they meant to end the war by destroying Earth itself. Get me a communication channel to the alien fleet, Stevens ordered. A few moments later, the beautiful musical voice of Lysandra filled the bridge. Admiral Stevens of the human fleet. This is Warsinger Lysandra of the Combined Galactic Armada. We have come to finish what we started. Warsinger. Stevens replied, this war has already cost too many lives on both sides. There has to be a better way. There is no better way, Lysandra said sadly. The prophecy is clear. Your species will either rule the galaxy or destroy it. We cannot allow either outcome. Today, we end the human threat forever. Stevens looked at her tactical display. The alien fleet had enough firepower to destroy every human ship and then continue on to Earth. But the human fleet also had enough weapons to take most of the aliens with them. If this battle started, it would be the bloodiest fight in galactic history. Wait, Stevens said suddenly. Warsinger, have you read the complete prophecy? There was a pause. What do you mean? Dr. Helen Rodriguez, our chief alien expert, found something your people missed. The prophecy doesn't just predict what humans will do. It predicts what we will choose to do. Stevens activated a communication channel to her entire fleet and to the alien armada. Every ship on both sides would hear what she said next. All ships, human and alien, listen carefully. The prophecy warns that humans will either unite the galaxy or destroy it. But it also says something else. It says we will face the time of choosing when we hold absolute power over other species. Stevens took a deep breath. This was the moment that would define humanity's future. Today is that time. Right now we have the power to destroy every alien civilization in the galaxy. Our weapons are ready. Our fleets are in position. We could end this war by ending all of you. Angry voices came from the alien ships, but Stevens continued. But we choose not to. The bridge went completely silent. Even her own crew stared at her in shock. Warsinger Lysandra, I am ordering all human forces to stand down. We will not fire unless fired upon. More than that, we are offering complete surrender of all military advantages. What? Peter Young asked in disbelief. Stevens ignored him and kept talking to the alien fleet. We will share all our technology freely. We will dismantle our weapons of mass destruction. We will give up our military superiority willingly. Admiral, what are you doing? Lisa Martinez whispered. What humans do best, Stevens replied. We're choosing hope over fear. Lysandra's voice came back, confused and uncertain. This makes no sense. Why would you give up the power to win? Because winning isn't the point, Stevens said. The prophecy wasn't a warning about what we would do. It was a warning about what we could do. And we choose to prove it wrong. President Lewis, still on the communication channel from Earth, spoke up. Warsinger Lysandra, Admiral Stevens speaks for all of humanity. We formally surrender all claims to galactic dominance. We propose the establishment of a new government where every species has equal representation. For long minutes, space was silent except for the hum of ship engines. Then Lysandra spoke again, her voice full of wonder. In all the history of the galaxy, no dominant species have voluntarily given up power. Why would you do this? Ambassador Daniel Chun, who had arrived on a diplomatic ship, answered her. Because the prophecy wasn't a warning about us, Warsinger. It was a test, and we choose to pass it. Slowly, one by one, the alien ships began powering down their weapons. The human ships did the same. In the space between the two fleets, the greatest war in galactic history ended not with destruction, but with an act of unprecedented trust. 5 years later, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of Unity Station, a massive space habitat built jointly by humans and dozens of alien species. His granddaughter, Emma Morrison, held his hand as they watched ships from across the galaxy docking peacefully. "Grandpa Jake," Emma asked, "tell me again about the old days when humans fought aliens." Jake smiled and knelt down to her level. "Well, Emma, there was a time when everyone in the galaxy was afraid of each other. They thought that to be safe, they had to be stronger than everyone else. But that's silly," Emma said. "Everyone knows the best way to be safe is to be friends." "You're right," Jake agreed. "But it took us a long time to learn that lesson. The most important lesson of all." He pointed out at the stars where ships from Earth, Alvari, Threx, Verthek, and dozens of other worlds traveled together in peace. The prophecy said humans would either save the galaxy or destroy it. What it didn't say is that saving it would be the easier choice. All we had to do was choose hope instead of fear, trust instead of suspicion, and friendship instead of dominance. Emma nodded seriously. "And everyone lived happily ever after?" Jake looked out at the peaceful galaxy and smiled. "Not ever after, Emma, but for now, and that's enough. That's always enough." The ancient prophecy had been fulfilled, but not as anyone expected. Humanity had indeed consumed the dark between stars, but they had filled it with light. They had brought an ending to the eternal silence, but they had replaced it with the sound of voices from across the galaxy, all speaking together in peace. The test was over. Humanity had passed,